Good afternoon. It is indeed a good Friday. It's Wrestlemania weekend. It's all kicking off. Welcome to Cheap Seat Booking. I am Matt. I'm here with Alex, a returning veteran of the Cheap Seats, and a first timer from Las Vegas. We got Ken. Big Ken, how you doing, buddy?
Good. How's it going?
We're doing good up here. Spring seems to have arrived. I've probably just jinxed that though, so it'll probably just the skies will open up and flood us out, or the fires will start, or something. I don't know. It WrestleMania weekend, Good Friday, Easter, 420. We're stacking the holidays up. Like I may have to call in sick Monday. I don't know what's going on here, but you're down in Vegas, Ken. Tell
Yes,
me a little bit
absolutely.
about what's going on. You hit the blood sport last night. Just before we hit record, you were telling us about a few things that were going on. So run that down for us one more time real quick. We had some WWE and NXT talent on the card. And
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off
nope,
there,
that's
but
fine. You
yeah,
go.
absolutely. I mean, Bloodsport was tremendous. They had 10 matches. You had wrestlers there from uh, I think you had a Ring of Honor guy. You had a couple in New Japan. You had several WWE performers, whether they're NXT or
Mm-hmm.
SmackDown. You had Natty Cross was there. You had a couple of the No Quarter Catch crew guys from NXT. Carmen Petrovic was there. It was a great atmosphere. The venue at the Pearl is not as on top of everything as like the Hammerstein Ballroom would
Mm-hmm.
be, but it's a great atmosphere where you we were up on the third tier. We were in section 314 on the first row. Had a fantastic view of everything, and it was just great action. I don't know if you've ever seen Bloodsport before, but no ropes, no
Mm-hmm.
turnbuckles or any of that stuff. It's definitely different. It took a minute to get used to it, but it was definitely something you actually you don't get the high spots like you would in a lot of traditional wrestling matches. It was a lot of fun though.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like it's a lot of I mean, really just straight catch wrestling. There's no rope bounces, there's no springboards, there's no top ropes. That sounds like a hell of an experience. Now you were mentioning that maybe one of the WWE talent had a bit of an issue on the way out of the ring.
Yeah, so after Natty won her match, she wrestled against a Japanese wrestler, and her name escapes me right at the second, but she was on her way back going to the dressing room, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, a little skirmish broke out, and we thought it was, the two wrestlers, but the wrestler she had wrestled was still just rolling off the ring, so it looked like a fan attacked her, and you know, and Natty got a good shot in on her, and security dragged the other woman off. And Natty was hot. I mean, she was fit to be tied. She was ready to kick someone's ass.
And you know what? For somebody that has just sort of hovered around for 15 or so years in the WWE, that's a bad stick of wood right there. I would not mess with Natty. At very least, the rest of her family may be in town too. Like, I
I
don't
actually
know if
just
Yeah.
you.
looked this up. I
Yeah.
looked this up before we hit the record button to see what was that, and it was not a fan. This
Oh,
was, yeah, I'm seeing that it was actually Kenzie Page, the
oh,
NWA
is
World Women's Champion.
okay. So they're probably
Oh,
setting up something there.
interesting. So, I mean, the WWE is doing a weird thing right now, at least for WWE standards, where they are lending talent out to smaller promotions here and there. They got their whole ID thing going on. It's interesting that they're sort of, I don't want to say opening the forbidden door or anything, but allowing talent to go out and do things for promotion wise, talent scouting for sure. If you think that they're not coming back with reports of, who's a good worker and who's on the up and coming and who's done whatever, you'd be wrong. Um,
Oh, a
it,
hundred
the even
percent.
I, and I'm for it. Let the workers work. I mean, they're not doing house shows anymore, at least very few. which I think is going to long-term hurt the product personally, because you're just not getting the reps in, even though you might be saving, some of your injury issues. But yeah, so what else is going on around in town? Like, you got to have events left, right, and center. You got SmackDown tonight. I mean, really, it's 3 days of solid wrestling for WWE. SmackDown is sort of doing a Sunday night heat gimmick at this point, which it's fine, I suppose. I don't know if we need 2 nights of every pay-per-view, even WrestleMania. But tell me what's going on in town. You must have every indie worker in the world in there.
Oh, 100%. So I know, like, just last night, being at the Palms and watching the blood sport, they put up a schedule of all their events, and today they have 5 different events going on, starting already started about an hour ago or so, going all the way through midnight tonight. Plus, Busted Open has a couple of different events going on around town. Yesterday, I know they did a
Mm-hmm.
recording of the Masters class. For those that listen to Busted Open, I'm sure they know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
Tonight, last night also, you had TNA in town. They had a card last night. At the T-Mobile Arena, they have SmackDown tonight. You got the Hall of Fame going on at the Fountain Blue. Then tonight, there's also a party at the Palms that Bully Ray is throwing. Tomorrow, you got Busted Open throwing their party. NXT
Mm-hmm.
has Stand and Deliver going on first thing in the morning.
Oh, I forgot
I mean,
about that.
you're right, and you just got wall to wall stuff. Even our local wrestling company, FSW, Future Stars of Wrestling,
Mm-hmm.
um, they've had multiple events going on at their at their little school and arena, every night. 4 or 5 different things. The WWID program, they had something going on there too as well. I mean, it's just, you know, for
All
all.
these events stacked on top of each other kind of remind me of a massive blow up version of the cruise. It's just, what do you want to see? We got that over here.
Oh,
Alex,
100%.
does it sound like it's comparable to Philly last year?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, me and Jill were looking at the schedules of all the shows like months prior and like, all right, there's like 3 or 4 things happening on Thursday. There's like 7 things happening on Friday. What do we want to do? Like, we have to pick our spots. And yeah, that's exactly what they did here too. It was insanity.
Ken, what about? I mean, you said you saw Bloodsport last weekend. You taking in any other shows this weekend? Any other events?
So actually, Gunnar and I, my son, we are going to night 2 of WrestleMania. I thought
Oh,
originally
nice.
we were getting tickets for night 1, but it's for
Mm-hmm.
night 2. Um, which, I mean, I've always been on the fence about. I mean, yes, do I want to go to a WrestleMania? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
But, am I going to be sitting in a reasonable enough seat where I can see the action and still enjoy what I'm doing rather than just
Mm-hmm.
watching a screen, which I can do at home? But
Yeah.
I'm definitely excited about going to night 2. I know I'm going to see, Cody and Cena. I'm guessing with them only having 6 scheduled matches for Sunday and 7 for Saturday, that there's still going to be something in the works, maybe something for Randy, who knows?
Yep. I mean, Orton. I'm looking at the WWE website here. Orton is not listed anywhere. I can't see him not doing something.
Right. I mean, he was scheduled to have a match, but
Yep.
because of everything that happened with Kevin, and hopefully he gets better soon,
Mm-hmm.
um, you know, hopefully they do have something for him. As the one reason that I was really looking forward to being night 1, if that's where we were going, is I just wanted the shit show that's going to be that 3-way between Roman and Seth and Punk.
Mm-hmm.
I'm anxious to see who Heyman actually leaves with, whether it's one of those guys or maybe somebody else.
Interesting thought here. So let's dive into that. Let's take a look. Let's put on our cheap seat booking hats here. So Roman Reigns, CM Punk, Seth Rollins. This is coming off tomorrow night, Saturday night. It's probably going to close the show, which if they stick with the order they have it listed on their website, that's what will happen. Unfortunately, that means the world title is not closing the show, which
Ooh.
yeah, it's unfortunate. We're star power over hardware on this one. As I was saying, Alex, the world title is not doing it for me in any way, shape, or form. It's kind of reminds me of the European title at this point. It's just sort of there. No disrespect to the guys that are holding it or have held it. It's just, I don't think it's getting the attention a world title should. And the star power is just in that triple threat. So you got Paul Heyman. We don't know what's going on. Is he going to leave with Roman? Is he going to leave with CM Punk? Is he going to get involved in the match? Is he going to leave with Seth? Alex, you've been quiet. What do you want to see out of this match? Book it for us. Where's Paul going? Who's picking up the win here for you?
Man, this is the toughest one. Honestly, like, I want to say Seth. That's what I want. I want Seth Rollins to win because I feel like, and I'm going to tangent here, he's the Io Sky of that situation.
Okay.
Of like, Roman and Punk are having this whole thing, and Seth Rollins, I feel, is just the third guy going, hey guys, I'm over here. You know, acknowledge me, maybe. Or else I'm gonna burn this down or something. So I don't know. I feel like Roman, his time is, for me, way up. CM Punk is decades news. Seth Rollins is the future, like just like he said on his promo the other week. You know, to me, if we want to move this forward, WrestleMania is the place to do it. Seth Rollins is the way to move forward. And like, oh my God, could you imagine the promos that Seth Rollins and Heyman could have as a team? That'd be great. Everyone would be roasted.
Yeah, I got some thoughts on that. We'll get to me after we hear from Ken. Ken, what are you looking for out of this triple threat? What would you do if you were sending the guys through the curtain?
I would definitely have Seth win the match because I don't know. I feel like he's lost a little bit of luster over the last couple of years. Last year, he felt like the fourth or fifth wheel with that whole story that was going on with the bloodline. It was definitely the fourth wheel, or even the fifth wheel when you consider that it was Rock and Roman and Cody and even a backseat to Paul Heyman at that point. But even though I feel like Seth may win the match, I have a sneaking suspicion, being you might want to say a conspiracy theorist or whatever, but interestingly enough, supposedly Brock Lesnar announced his retirement, which seems a little out of character. So, we always get surprises at WrestleMania. Usually whatever is going to close the show, somehow it's going to be, a little bit of a shocker or something like that. So I could definitely see a situation where, maybe he wins, Seth wins the match and he wants, he wants him to be his wise man now, and out comes Lesnar, wrecks everybody, leaves with Heyman, because we all know at his heart, Heyman is a heel. Yes, maybe Seth needs a fresh coat of paint and to be a heel again, but I think if he was ever going to end up with Paul Heyman, I think he definitely needs to, at the very least, change his look, because I'm definitely tired of the wacky attire he wears.
Yeah.
You don't like him wearing Becky Lynch's closet?
Exactly.
Yeah, Seth's aesthetics for me have been way off for many years. I like Alex's point of the promos that could be done. Seth might start giving promos that I would watch again, because the last couple of years, he sounds like an old school Subway commercial, and he's just reading off of cue cards. I don't find a lot of believability in him. This is a weird match because I don't really care who wins. I like the idea of Lesnar, a little payback on Seth for, was it 31, where
Yeah.
Seth came out and stomped Brock, stomped Roman, walked out with the belt. That would be
That'd be 10
interesting.
years.
It's, a little comeback. Brock was quoted, I guess, by a fan at the very least of, no, I'm retired, I'm not coming back. Well, I mean, it's wrestling. Don't say it, just do it. Because the second you say it, we all figure it's a work. And we've seen it before. Literally everybody. I thought we had Foley. Nope, he came back. I thought there was a little integrity with Sean. Well, the Saudis backed up the money truck, didn't they? And I don't blame them. I
Yeah.
mean, Flair's had more retirement tours than the Rolling Stone. For me, I think it's going to be CM Punk that's going to get the win. But I'd go with Rollins leaving with Heyman, because I mean, there's no real title on the line. I mean, Heyman does seem to be the prize here. If you win, you get Paul Heyman.
Right.
Okay. Or
I
Paul
think
Heyman causes the win.
I think that I don't think CM Punk or Roman's going to win, because I think that CM Punk's already getting his quote unquote dream by finally main eventing a WrestleMania match. So
Is he though? He's closing
supposedly,
the night. I think this is an opportunity where he's going to go, no, I want to close the weekend. I want to be the last match on both nights.
He's the
I
only
can
one
see
that
him
wants
pushing
that.
the goalposts back, and maybe that's just motivation. But I mean, yeah, technically it is the main event of the evening, which is, what the old school say. Mongo showing up, missed you on the cruise, buddy. Yeah, we all did. I mean, we
yeah.
were, life happens, and, sometimes you can't get on that vacation, but hopefully, we can sort it out for November 2026. If not, Ken lives in Vegas, guys. Like,
I
and
know.
he knows really good restaurants.
100%.
All right, so it sounds like we're that particular main event. I can't shake the Brock Lesnar idea though. It hadn't
And
occurred to me as a possibility. I like it. I like the idea if nobody wins and Brock just destroys everybody. But like I say, I think it's going to be Seth walking out with. If I was doing it without knowing we had that, I would go with Seth walking out with Heyman.
and
Yeah.
also in the future, if there's ever going to be a situation where The Rock and Roman wrestle, because that's still a match that was tabled for last year.
Mm-hmm.
The fans spoke up, got Cody back in the match. I can almost see a situation where, The Rock put the Ulafala back on Roman, and, who's to say that if, Roman takes the pinfall in this,
Mm-hmm.
maybe on Raw tomorrow night, we see The Rock come up and say something about, why, ever since I put that Ulafala on you, you've been an absolute disappointment. And,
Mm-hmm.
maybe start something where, The Rock starts getting some of the bloodline back on his side or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, just
I mean,
a year-long build to them wrestling maybe next year at WrestleMania, assuming The Rock is ever going to wrestle again.
now that's how we book right there. Yeah, who's taking that pinfall? None of us think Roman's walking out of this one. And you know what? Fair enough. He's walked out with his hands raised enough. It's not going to hurt him. It's not going to turn him into the next Brooklyn Brawler. But yeah, I like that angle of that, because we got a whole other night where we can dive into that as well. That's good thinking. I appreciate that right there. That's what this show is about. Let's take a look at the other main event. Sunday night, Cody Rhodes, John Cena. Now, Alex, stick with us. I know your stomach just flipped upside down. And Alex is well known that he has seen enough. So he's getting squirmy. Let it out. Let it out, buddy. What are you doing here? John Cena, he's in his last year. Not going to another WrestleMania, allegedly. What are we doing?
I mean, we were saying finish the story last year. Can we finish Cena's story, please? Like, lose at WrestleMania. You don't got it anymore, John. You never did. And you can go home now. Go away. Don't touch that 16 times. Like 16 times, great. You did good, kid. Go away. Let everybody else play in the yard now. You've had your time. Your time is up. Cody Rhodes keeping the title for a year is fine, especially after the 4 years that we suffered through Reigns. Like, even if it's just Cody Rhodes beats John Cena at WrestleMania on Raw, we get a Cena promo of, all right, I don't got it anymore. That is my last WrestleMania. Cool. And then something crazy happens. Cody Rhodes loses the world title to some, on a Raw or a SmackDown, not a pay-per-view. That'd be, something else. Like, watch Raw more often. Why? Well, we just have a new champion now. That'll put the butts in seats, right?
Well, there we go. Just going to go back quick to a comment from old Mongo here. CM Punk has the intermission match. Oh, my God. That's fantastic. I love the way that man's mind works. What else he got to say? When the glass hits and Stone Cold stuns The Rock, it's going to be magic. Well, you know what? That's a Nevada resident. I think he's closer to Tahoe or Reno. I don't stalk him well enough. I just know he's sort of up in the hunting country of Nevada. But yeah, I mean, we kind of missed it last year, but my boy came out and saved Cody's ass. So I was more than happy with that. All right, Ken, what are you thinking on John and Cody here?
Well, I know you said you were just saying something about Stone Cold being up in the mountains. Don't forget, he's getting inducted into the Hall of Fame for that match tonight.
Yeah, and that's just what Monk. I had forgotten about that. We'll talk the Hall of Fame a little after we get through a few more of these matches. But yes, I guess he's come down out the mountains.
Yes,
we'll get to that because I do want to discuss this concept of inducting matches into the Hall of Fame. But first, Cena and Cody, what are you thinking, Ken? How are you gonna get them out of this?
So, has Cody had a great championship? Great run as a champion? I don't know if I'd say great. I've enjoyed it. I mean, he hasn't really had that, great heel. I mean, Kevin Owens did some great work with him. I think that was fun. But they always say the money's in the chase, and I think if I were WWE, I would want the quote unquote all-time world champion to be a WWE guy and not necessarily somebody who's more associated with the NWA or WCW. So I could definitely see why they would go along the lines of putting the championship back on Cena, only to have Cody chase him and maybe, win it back, right at, maybe Cena's last match is Cody winning that championship back off of him and retiring Cena for good. And, who knows, obviously got to have a little bit. I see you shaking your head.
Yeah, he's shaking his head.
I got a counter booking for you, Ken.
Okay.
If Cena wins, there's only one right way to make him go away, and that's his arch rival and legend killer, Randy Orton. If Cena becomes 17-time world champion, he's a legend now. Gotta kill him.
Okay.
Hey, Randy.
I am so glad you said that because old Josh here is saying, I need to see Alex get angry. So if Cena wins, do we get a WrestleMania 9 ending? Now we can add Randy as the Hulk Hogan sort of run in at the end. That's an interesting concept. Yep, Amber's on board. Amber, good, nice seeing you. Thanks for stopping by. Thank you for stopping by, Josh. Appreciate it. Everybody out there, I can see the numbers dancing, so feel free to jump in the comments on whatever platform you're watching us on, and we'll add you to the chat here. Now, for me, with this whole situation, Cena was turning heel, I think, was the best thing they could have done because it's his final year. You're going to have guys like Alex all over the place, like he's had all of his career. Let's do the heel thing. Let's piss everybody off. We'll build to something. We'll find a way to write it down. I think Cena's got to win, walk out with the title.
I agree.
I think it has to happen. I think he's going to walk out with the title. Cody's going to be back in the chase. We can have his greatest hits and play on the fact that it's going to piss people off. It's going to create an emotional connection. Alex is.
That's not what WrestleMania is for. You're supposed to give us what we want this time. You can bust our balls for 12 months, but WrestleMania, we're supposed to get the happy fantasy ending, damn it.
Well, and you know what? This might end up being a SummerSlam thing. I think you put the title on him, you leave it till about SummerSlam, and you run him against his greatest hits that we have left. I mean, it'd be cool if Copeland could come back, but that ain't going to happen. Backlash is in St. Louis. Randy Orton is all over that poster. Maybe this is how we could be that run-in.
True.
WrestleMania 3 style. Shows up, takes the title, or shows up and we get that happy ending of the RKO because everybody loves a good RKO out of nowhere, and setting up a title match. Run them against the greatest hits. AJ Styles is still there. Let's throw AJ in the mix. Use that. There is no better way to get heat on a heel character right now than making John Cena break Ric Flair's record. Although Flair is just going to turn around and go, well, I had to leave it. I dropped it for a weekend, so I left Puerto Rico or Japan alive. And he likes saying it's 21 with 5 unofficials. But,
right.
And I don't think it really matters because you look, all of them combined probably weren't as long as Bruno Sammartino's. I mean, I think Cena's got to go over. Josh, you know what? That's fine. We can mess with him. There's nothing better than a chapped ass panelist on Cheap Seat Booking. Let's get the emotions flowing because look, I think we all have that guy or multiple people. You want to start talking Goldberg matches, you're gonna watch me lose my fucking stuffing. And
I'll fight you.
You know what?
One thing we can get too, and this just came across my mind is, now if Cena wins the record or wins the title, breaks the record, he can come out on Monday Night Raw and he can basically shit all over Ric Flair. And then whose music you hit and have come out, and granted there's not going to be any physicality between the two of them, but who could come out and they can have a pretty good promo battle, and before you know it, this person can actually break Cena's record. You can have Charlotte come out.
That's an interesting twist. I like that.
Because she's actually got, I don't know what her count is on world championships or whatever.
She's really close.
She's close. And how would it be to have Cena beat a Flair only to have a Flair beat Cena for the the record?
I mean, we don't often see intergender stuff in WWE, but why not? I mean, that is a solid piece of thinking right there. I like that. Even if it is just by proxy. Unfortunately, it won't be Andrade stepping in anymore, but let's I think Cena and Flair and Charlotte Flair would work. Let's have a go. They put it on a Monday Night Raw, put it on Netflix, maybe not on
I mean, I'm not talking about them having a match. I'm just talking about a promo battle because, I mean, Cena is considerably, more muscular than him. But I mean, I can definitely see Charlotte going, in a match with a couple of, different men on that roster.
I mean, even if she just torments John for 6 months, right? Like we won't do the physicality, but she can do a very good sensational Sherry style. I'm going to mess with you every chance I get, and he can do it back to her. He can come back down. It's like, hey, no, oh, sorry, you you got your foot tripped in the match and you lost to insert NXT person here and took your title. That's a fascinating. I like this. That's fucking amazing.
I mean, they added intergender in their most previous video games, so like, why wouldn't they? But like, I get it, but the sponsors should be the same. If you're marketing your new video game, saying, "Hey, check out this really cool feature we put in there called intergender wrestling," I wouldn't be too shocked if they started trying that.
No, me either. And hey, as long as it's done right, and it's both competitors or all the competitors are like, "Yep, we're cool with it. Let's go, let's go." I mean, we got some tough women out there right now.
Yeah.
It's
And
not.
if they're under something as huge as TKO and Endeavor or whatever, it's like, well, maybe we can start looking at this more as a combat sport, or fine, don't look at it as a combat sport. Then it's entertainment. If it's entertainment, then it's predetermined and you should be okay with the show that you're watching.
Yeah, I see no problems with that. Ken, thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I would go as like top of the card wrestlers wrestling intergender, but I could definitely see, more mid card wrestlers. I don't know how I feel about, like in TNA where you've had Tessa Blanchard win the world title before. I don't know how I feel about something along those lines where, I don't want to see Charlotte winning the, the WWE championship or whatever title, the undisputed championship, whatever they call it anymore.
Yeah,
But
no kidding.
Yeah,
I mean, I get it. I didn't mind the Tessa Blanchard thing personally, but they got to be tricky. WWE has got to watch that slippery slope. But if it's entertainment and everybody's agreed to it, I am cool with seeing it. And to continue the ball busting out of North Carolina, Mongo says, Josh, Matt's dream match is Daniel Garcia versus Goldberg. Absolutely. I cannot wait to go and get so drunk in the concession stand during that match. That's how that'll be. But speaking of the women, let's have a quick look at in an interesting, as we mentioned earlier, Io Sky doing a Seth Rollins, or Seth Rollins doing an Io Sky, kind of slotted in the middle of this feud with Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley. I love that Io is getting her flowers, and it wasn't just a one and done. We see that far too often with any talent in wrestling. You get a little bit of a push, you get a title run, and then you just kind of shuffle off into the back and you don't stick your head up, or you don't get the opportunity to stick your head up again. Io, I was really scared was going to happen. I thought she was just going to, end up counting the lights in the building, but she took the title off of Rhea, and that was fantastic. I'm really digging this. Big fan of Rhea, big fan of Io Sky. Bianca, not so much. Ken, how would you end this match?
it's time for Bianca to be a heel. And I honestly think she needs to kick the holy hell out of the both of them. I agree. Io is great. I'm not the biggest fan of watching both Bianca and Rhea basically just keep mushing her in the face like that. But, I don't know if they're going to play hot potato with the title, but I would definitely like to see Bianca come out, be a little underhanded, and take the title and be a heel and let both Io and Rhea chase her for a little bit.
Yeah, that works. Alex?
That was a good point. Is this like a triple face match? Like,
yeah.
who are we booing here? Nobody, right?
Nobody. We have nobody. I do like the heel turn aspect. We'll get into my thoughts on this. Josh needs Bianca back on top. It's been booked awful for a year.
True.
I'm not going to help Josh. I'm sorry. I'm booking this one of two ways. I'm seeing either Io pinning Bianca or Rhea pinning Bianca, because I like the fact that Rhea's never beat Io. So if Rhea's winning, she's still not going to pin Io.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other side, I don't want it to be a one and done like you said, Matt. Like, I want Io Sky to hold it for a little bit more, maybe till SummerSlam or something.
Mm-hmm.
But on the flip side of the coin, mommy is synonymous with being the champ on top. So
Yeah.
I don't know, but sorry, Josh, I see Bianca taking the fall no matter what.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna disagree here. I am not a big Bianca Belair fan. I think what we're missing in this whole equation right now is this is going to be part 2 of a bigger story. Part 1 is going to be Saturday night with Jade Cargill and Naomi. Bianca spent the last year working with Cargill, bringing her along up till she got injured. And then her and Naomi underrated talent. Again, I'm not the biggest fan, but they check a lot of boxes. They're athletic. They don't have a whole lot of holes in their game. It's just their personalities don't land for me. Nothing against either lady. I think we're going to see Belair stick her nose into Cargill and Naomi, and that's going to tell the story of the next night. Whether it's one of the two girls showing up to help Bianca, and she does walk out with the title, probably the heel in the match, and we get that heel turn, or maybe the girls just sort of scrap it out, have a beer, and decide that the three of them are a deadly, deadly unit. And we get a new trios faction coming out of it. But I think it's got to be Bianca with interference based on the Saturday night match with Jade and Naomi. I think Jade still needs the help. And those two girls are perfect to help her bring her along. I'm not as hard on her as I used to be. I called her Girlberg for the longest time, but she's getting better. I'm seeing a lot of improvements. So I think that's what I would go with.
I somehow think that even though Naomi admitted to attacking Jade,
Mm-hmm.
that somehow, even though she hasn't shown her cards yet, I think Bianca is on the same page as Naomi. So
Okay.
I think as much, even though they've kind of kept them separated and had their little,
Mm-hmm.
back and forth, tell me now and all this other, whatever. I think at the end of the day that Bianca's going heel and her and Naomi are going to be back together. And if they have a third person that's going to be part of a little faction with the girls or whatever, I can see a couple of different wrestlers maybe from NXT coming up to join them or something like that.
Interesting.
Like a Lash Legend,
Oh yeah.
or even Jada Parker. If they're main roster ready, if they're going to have some kind of faction that's going to be, maybe a female nation of domination type thing or something like that. I mean,
Damn.
I could certainly see something like that.
I like the
Female nation
thought
of
there.
domination.
That's
That'll sell T-shirts.
that'll sell T-shirts and it just dominant females. That kind of leads into a whole other aesthetic, but we're going to move forward.
Yeah.
We're not going to get me canceled just yet, even though I think we're all thinking it. So let's take a look. What I think is one of the bigger pick'ems, and I have definite thoughts on this: Intercontinental Championship Fatal 4-Way match. Finn Balor, Dominic Mysterio, Penta, and Braun Breaker. Ken, what are you thinking about this one? I know you're going Sunday, you said. So
Yes.
this is something you're going to get to catch live. By the way, the background picture you see here is actually my seats at WrestleMania 17. So I know exactly what you mean when you like, I paid a lot of money to stare at a giant TV.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Okay, so for that match, as much as I would love to see maybe Penta win that match,
mhm.
I think he hasn't been in the company long enough and still needs to get his feet wet, whether that's continuing a singles run or eventually him and, Ray teaming back, not
Mm-hmm.
Ray Mysterio, Ray Phoenix, uh,
Yes.
getting back together as a tag team, because I'll be honest with you, I think the tag team division is very lackluster.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I would love to see nothing more than Dominic Mysterio win that title, cause a rift with Finn
Mm-hmm.
Balor. I mean, Finn is already practically off his rocker at all the things that are going on. That'll just add another level to Finn's angst with Dom, and
Mm-hmm.
maybe we get another split of the Judgment Day, and now Dom is running the Judgment Day, and Finn is out on his own. Maybe he turns babyface.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? But I'm all in with Dominic winning that title, because he is a fucking heat magnet.
Oh, absolutely. Alex, what are you thinking? You're nodding and smiling.
Yeah, I mean that is the easiest and best story that you can come up with out of this match. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'll even sprinkle in the cherry on top of Braun Spears Balor, and then Dom just sneaks in the pin, and he's pinning Balor for the title, and then you have the whole Braun didn't get beat.
Mm-hmm.
Now the Judgment Day is pinning each other. And yeah, like Ken said, it just spirals out of control, and maybe Balor leaves the Judgment Day once and for all, and we can get the Demon back or something. Let's
Right.
go.
Oh yeah, I've been waiting for them to. 'Cause, I mean, it's Judgment Day. Why haven't we seen the demon? Other than Balor has gone on record going, "Do you know what a pain in the ass it is to paint half your body?" I mean, fair enough. I mean, we did see it with a buddy of ours on the last cruise that got all painted up. That took a little while. But yeah, I think everybody's looking at it the same way. Dom's coming out of here with a greasy, shady pin. Whether or not he sneaks, I think he's going to do something underhanded. I think he's not. It's not going to be a flop on Balor. I think he's going to roll him up. I think it's going to be 100% deliberate. It's going to be a greasy, dodgy little pin. He's going to be not in the match or beat up and sort of left to be forgotten about. But yeah, I think it's got to be Dom. Put the title on him. It'll mean something. And then it's just going to be greasy, dodgy, cheat to win, sort of in the heel vein that will lead to then it's the cheat to win in the babyface Eddie Guerrero reign down the line. But I have not seen heat like Dom gets. He doesn't do anything, and it
That's
just
why we
comes
hate him.
natural to him. I mean, Roman Reigns, to get the kind of heat Dom is got now, had to beat the Undertaker at WrestleMania. He couldn't get a word out the next Monday night. Let's see what we have in the chats here. If Chelsea isn't on the card, NXT better not be booked. You know what? Yeah, there's Chelsea not being on the card is really pissing off a lot of people.
It
But we're missing
sucks.
some. What's that?
It sucks.
It
She should
does.
be on the card. I mean,
Yeah, she's a title holder. She is doing
first.
great heel work. Yeah, the first. I she's another one of these BC kids. I think she's a Victoria girl as well. And she's parading around in the US stuff, so she's got the Canadians mad. She is just that her obnoxious character, and she's doing just fine. And why isn't she here? I mean, I could pull, like, I'm looking at the list of matches. There's no reason that we need to see the War Raiders and the New Day anywhere but SmackDown.
right. That would be
Yeah.
a nice little follow up to the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal tonight.
Yeah. I mean, and I liked having that on the main card too. I mean, that very quickly got bumped to the pre-show. Let's see, what else do we have in this giant list as we're entering our last 15 minutes. How's it going, Keith? Terrell, thanks for stopping by. Thinking Randy Orton, fantastic. Yeah, first UFC U.S. champion should have made history here. Yeah, I don't think anybody's going to argue that whole thing. So let's take a quick look. What does it need to be on this card to you guys? If you're going to pull a match off the card, like I said, I'd pull the War Raiders in New Day. I'd swap that out for something off of SmackDown. You know what? I'd straight up swap the tag title match. Ken was saying the tag title is a little weak, but SmackDown has an interesting little dynamic going on with the Machine Guns and the Street Profits and DIY. I mean, yeah, let's throw the Lucha Brothers in there. Let's build this tag division back up to where it was in 2001. What else we have here? So night one also has Mysterio and El Grande Americano. We have the Cargill and Naomi match, LA Knight and Jacob Fatu, Stratton and Flair, Gunther and Uso. And then night two is got AJ Styles and Logan Paul, Priest and McIntyre, Morgan and Rodriguez versus Bailey and Valkyria. And we've discussed the other three matches. So anything in that list there, you boys are thinking, yeah, move it, swap it out for something, give us that Chelsea Green, give us that tag title match. What are you thinking, Ken?
So if we were going to replace something with a women's match, I would take the women's tag team title match off the WrestleMania card, put it on a pre-show, or put it on SmackDown, or because the women's titles are on either show. So that can go on SmackDown, and I would put Chelsea on Sunday's card so I could see her live too.
Yeah, there you go. Alex, what are you thinking? Anything you'd pull there?
I mean, I don't know, like Rey Mysterio versus El Grande Americano does not sound like a WrestleMania match to me.
Right?
No, why is that there? I don't know. I would rather want, like Ken said, a U.S. women's title match or something. Why is that there? What are they fighting for?
There's a couple matches here that they're on the card because these are veteran and legends, and that's why. It's
my only thought is, maybe if it's Ray's last WrestleMania, okay, but other than that, I don't see why. Granted that match doesn't seem completely WrestleMania worthy either, but I agree that any one of the three matches we mentioned could easily come off the card, and if you had Chelsea on that card, I mean, the crowd just goes nuts for her. So
yeah,
why not have her on this card? She's earned it. She's put up with so much shit that she's been dealt with from either general manager whenever she's been on either Raw or SmackDown, and I don't know.
Her backstage stuff with the GMs is amazing. I mean, sometimes we see it where you're great backstage, but your in ring is awful, or vice versa. But Chelsea's got them both nailed. I can't really fault it. I don't even like Priest and McIntyre. We can move that.
Care.
Yeah, that's another one.
It's going to be a hard hitting match, but okay. Josh here, Logan Paul doesn't deserve another WrestleMania spot. This one, him and Style. This is going to be. They're looking for another aerial photo. Is what they're looking for here. Is they're looking for a couple of high flying moves at the same. They're looking for that Japanese anime samurai fight feel where it's
I'm here for it.
Basically, if you think about it, the matches Logan Paul puts on basically has replaced the matches that Shane used to put on.
Yeah, without the crash and burn, but absolutely. Right. It's that spectacle. Yeah, I like that comparison.
Yeah, it's the best one I could think of. But
yeah,
I mean, whether you hate the guy or you love the guy, he is amazing in the ring. And I would much rather see a Logan Paul match than, no disrespect to Rey Mysterio or Chad Gable or whoever is underneath that mask. I think I would rather see a Logan Paul match than those two guys. and that's no disrespect to them, but it's just, you know,
Yeah, I feel what you're saying there.
yeah,
This is going to be and hopefully nobody gets hurt. Like sometimes they set these things up, and it is a wet fart in church. It is just it doesn't work. It the match doesn't come off right. It's a big hole in the card. You know, somebody gets hurt or they just don't have the chemistry. I guess we'll see. Like Logan Paul is, I don't want to say trying to be AJ Styles, but if you look at young AJ Styles and Logan Paul, not too dissimilar. Shitty human who has talent doesn't justify having a top star because he's popular YouTuber. You know what? Yeah, I can't disagree with Josh on there. It's but you're also paying him a lot of money, so why make him sit home for it?
right. Not only
It's
that, I mean, if you look at past WrestleManias, I mean, look at some of the people that have been on WrestleMania cards that, were in, Bad Bunny. Was he good? Yes,
mhm.
he put on a good match, but
Yeah.
Logan Paul is certainly more believable. I would believe Logan Paul beating Damian Priest before I'd believe Bad Bunny beating Damian Priest.
Solid point. I mean, for their celebrity guests and athletes, I would believe Logan Paul over Stephen Amell too.
Yeah, true.
Logan is coming in and he's working his ass off to do it. However, maybe not the greatest human being from some of the stories I heard. Which actually reminds me, I was turned on to something about him. I've watched one episode of his podcast, and it was the Dominic Mysterio episode because Dom deliberately brought up why Logan got kicked out of Japan or got in trouble with the Japanese government. And Logan got super uncomfortable. I recommend watching it on YouTube. It's impulsive, the Dom Mysterio episode, because Dom gets this shit-eating grin and just asks Logan, "Have you ever been to Japan?" And Logan just he goes white as a ghost. His face falls. He's like, "I don't want to talk about this." And Dom's like, "No, what happened?" Because I guess he had taken a photo in the suicide forest with, um, unfortunately, somebody that had opted out hanging off of a tree behind him, and may not have. I've never seen it. I'm not looking it up. I'm not. I already gave him one hit. But yeah, it just the way Dom did it was brilliant. I highly recommend tuning in just to see the way Dom fucking gets him and how uncomfortable Logan got. So there we are. Josh has seen it. Oh no, he filmed it in person and mocked him.
Yeah, he said
Yep.
some stuff.
Yeah. So and just the way Dom brought it up, absolute magic. Because you see the grin on his face. I had heard about it listening to the Undertaker's podcast. It was brought up. And so I watched it on YouTube because they said, no, you got to watch his face. If you look it up, you got to watch his face. And just, you see it. A second he got that shitty grin, I went, oh, here we go. This is the thing I tuned in for. All right. Last but not least, let's have a quick look before we go on the WWE Hall of Fame this year. Interesting kickoff. Main event marquee star Triple H this year. There's lots of shitting on the fact that he's in charge of the company, so he's putting himself in, sort of thing. That's not how it went down. He was surprised with it by all accounts. I've never heard anybody debunk this. The Undertaker and Shawn Michaels decided, yeah, you're going in, or Nick Khan decided he was going in, so it was the Undertaker and Shawn Michaels that broke it to him. How do you guys feel about this? The boss is going in the Hall of Fame, not something Vince would have done.
I dig it. Why wouldn't he? He's done
Yeah.
everything, and like he's the poster guy for a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
And like he came from terrorizing to, chief officer of awesomeness. Like, yeah, good for him. Fantastic. Absolutely deserves it.
Yeah. Ken, anything other than that? You on board with it? You not so much?
Oh, Triple H,
Yep.
100%. He's, I mean, to go from terrorizing, like, and
Mm-hmm.
that crap to to everything that happened in the WWE, from the Click and having to eat shit for over a year. And
Mm-hmm.
if it wasn't for that moment in Madison Square Garden, we might have never got, you know Austin 316 just whipped your ass. So, sometimes out of a bad situation comes a good situation. And he soldiered on and became, you know in
Yeah.
my mind,
Top guy.
one of the top guys of the Attitude Era. And the whole thing with DX was magic. I mean, and the one thing that I really enjoyed about DX was everybody that was in DX meant something. It wasn't
Mm-hmm.
like, so many times now you see a faction and that, one of the guys is just there to eat the
Yep.
L or something like that, or,
Mm-hmm.
to be the one whipping boy. And um
Road Dog.
Road Dog was amazing on the stick.
Yes, he
Um,
is.
So short.
there's but yeah, 100%. I mean, Triple H deserves it. And the rest of the class, I'm all on board with. I wish that Sting would have been able to induct Luger, but you know,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you got DDP is still solid for an induction. I mean, DDP's made Lex Luger his it sounds condescending to say new project, but
right,
that's what it is. I mean, he's world renowned for Jake, world renowned for Scott Hall, and yeah, let's get Luger up and running. It's sad to see Lex Luger in the state he's in now. I mean, he
right,
may not have been the best person out there through his career, but you don't want to see that. Just he's basically in a wheelchair. It's not even basically. He's in a wheelchair from coming down from having one of the best spotties walking the earth at one time.
right,
Um, and then we have, and as far as DX goes, the thing I like about DX is they're running the company now.
right,
Triple H, Shawn, and Road Dogg are the top on that side, and that's fantastic. I think that is just incredible. They did take over. Then we got Michelle McCool. Um, a lot of talk of it's just a nepo thing because of her husband. I can't say that. She had a good run. I don't think it was as long as it, could have been. I would definitely like to see it go a little bit more. It's fine with me. Alex, Ken.
my correct me if I'm wrong. Are they inducting a celebrity this year? Because I know
Nope.
usually you know who
No
was
celebrity
grossly
this year.
overdue to be in the Hall of Fame?
Hmm?
Cyndi Lauper.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that needs to happen. I think Cindy is actually prepping for a summer tour. So, I mean, it could just be a matter of because I know I've seen ads around Vancouver that Cyndi Lauper's out and about and doing a tour and coming to town. So it could just be a timing thing, you know.
Yeah.
But like you said, long overdue. This should have been decades ago.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. She's definitely, I mean, top of my list as far as any celebrities getting inducted.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we got Luger and McCool, and then our tag team this year, the Natural Disasters. It'd be good to see. I'm wondering if they'll do some sort of Shockmaster thing when Big Fred comes out to do the deal. It's unfortunate that John Tenta is no longer with us. He's going to get one of those posthumous things, but graphic oversights in all sorts of the tag team division over the years. We just don't get to induct scores of tag teams at a time. I don't think you can argue with the Natural Disasters going in. I mean, sure, we're still missing Demolition and the British
100%.
Bulldogs, but
Yes.
nothing wrong with the Disasters. Anything against it, Alex?
Yeah, I mean, they were a bit before my time, but I
Mhm.
watched some replays and yeah, why not? Like, that was impressive. That was a hell of a
Mhm.
team. So why wouldn't they be in the Hall of Fame? I'm for it.
Yep.
Um,
Yep. Keep
yeah, I
going.
mean, to the Michelle McCool point, I don't think I was watching during her run, so I don't really have a educated, I guess, opinion. I think they could have went with a more legendary female for that slot.
Mm-hmm.
But again, like you said, like her run wasn't that long, so is it Hall of Fame worthy? I'll leave that there.
Yeah. I mean, who knows, really? Like I said, I think she's cool with it. It's because you got to remember it's the Hall of Fame, not the Hall of Champions, as well, right? Speaking of not necessarily being super champions, although most of them were, in our legacy induction, this is kind of like the daytime Emmys of the show. They just tell us they're putting them in: Kamala, Dory Funk Sr., and Ivan Koloff. This leads right to my point. It's the Hall of Fame. You say Kamala, people know,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, that's it. And that would absolutely 100% for Kamala. Like that's as a famous character, everyone knows who that is.
Ken?
Yeah. Ivan Koloff definitely. I mean, hell, he has been a champion.
Yep.
Was he the one that ended Bruno's long reign, right?
Yep. He was the one that took it off of Bruno back in the day. The evil Russian.
Yeah. No, he definitely deserves it. Kamala, I mean, I remember him, but I mean nothing.
But that's it. You remember him.
Yes.
I mean, we don't remember him for his 5-star matches. Jamal, what's going on, buddy? Jamal is out there in Vegas. He's doing his thing. Thanks for popping on real quick and saying hi, buddy. Enjoy the rest of the weekend. I would love to see what's going on with your photos and your stories coming out of this weekend as well. It's going to be wild times because I know you have a wild Canadian down there with you. And then, of course, with the other, Dory Funk Sr. is like a forgotten patriarch. We all remember Terry and Dory Jr., but I mean, Dory Sr., that's a head of a bad family down there in the Amarillo. So no problems there. And then with no celebrity this year, we are getting no Warrior Award either. But we have a new Hall of Fame wing, and I like this concept. Bret the Hitman Hart and Stone Cold Steve Austin from WrestleMania 13 is the first match to be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. What do you think about this concept? I'm for it, personally. Alex is grinning.
Yeah, I mean, I like it because it feels like they're leaning into that there is no actual Hall of Fame. So why does it have to be a physical person or, that we induct? It can be an idea, a concept, a match. I wouldn't be surprised if they threw in gimmicks or whatever, Hall of Fame gimmicks moving forward or something like that. But
the gobbledygooker needs his due, damn it.
Absolutely. We waited a whole year for that mother to hatch. Come on. But yeah, I mean, this also could, establish a foundation of these are the must watches of the industry. If you want to bring somebody into wrestling, you can say, I have a Hall of Fame match I can show you. That's pretty cool.
Yep. Now it's not my favorite WrestleMania match, but it's definitely a favorite WrestleMania match. Mine is always going to be the Iron Man, but I think between this, you had to pick between Bret Hart and Stone Cold or Shawn and Taker as the first one in. But Ken, what do you think of the concept?
I love the concept of matches. In my mind, there is a WrestleMania match that I think sparked the industry, and while maybe the person involved in this match wouldn't garner, a rousing ovation, I think Hulk Andre from WrestleMania 3 should have been the first match. I think without that match and without that WrestleMania, we might not be at WrestleMania 41 right now.
I mean, that's fair. That was the first big stadium show. It, as I've long been there's two kinds of wrestling matches. There's your technical match, and then there's your spectacle match. Right. WrestleMania 3 gave us two of the greatest in each category. We had Hogan Andre drew the crowd. Steamboat Savage blew him away.
Right.
But yeah, I couldn't, Hogan Andre, that would be, I couldn't argue with that. But yeah, I think the Hulkster may not be the most welcome in front of the live crowd these days. That
Right.
one,
Which might be the reason why that wasn't the first,
mhm.
which I can totally understand. And I mean, who doesn't want to see Stone Cold? So that's
Exactly. And you know
Yep.
what? As we mentioned earlier, he's in town, right? What do you
yes.
got going on for the rest of the weekend, buddy?
Yeah, no,
Just saying. I mean,
he's definitely in town. I saw somebody post a picture on Twitter, or X, whatever the hell they call it.
here's a thought we're going to leave with, because we're just a little bit over an hour, so we are going to get out of here. We have afternoons to do, and Ken's taking time out from work to join us here. What if Randy doesn't have a match? What if Randy comes out, cuts a promo saying it's too bad Kevin's on the shelf with Sammy with neck injuries. I should be out here. I should have a match. I was looking forward to it. And then the glass breaks. The Viper and the Rattlesnake.
There can only be one.
Yeah.
This desert ain't big enough for the both of us.
I'm
How's
sure
that concept?
I think something will definitely get set up tonight for him to have a match. I don't necessarily know if having it as a surprise or whatever, just like that year Cena came out and next thing you know, here comes the Undertaker, and
Yep, that one.
The squash match for the ages. But
Loved it.
yeah,
The longest set-up squash match in the history of wrestling. And I didn't mind the way they did it either. I thought it was like cool. And Cena sat there the entire night. But yeah, it could just be that. But now I'm latched onto this idea of Stone Cold Norton having to eat, maybe not even a match, just trade stunners and RKOs. Jamal would wet himself if Austin wrestles. I don't think you would be the only one. I think that stadium was going to start smelling like the Superdome after Katrina, if you know what I mean there. I think everybody would sort of just release all the beer. All the beer would be refunded immediately. God Mode has been engaged. He's just getting started. Oh, buddy, I can't wait to hear the stories. Thank you, Ken, for taking some time out of your day and joining us on your first cheap seat booking. Thank you, Alex, for always showing up. It's
pleasure.
Fantastic. You enjoy the rest of your weekend down there, Ken. You and the fam have a great time. Can't wait to see some pics and hear some stories about what's going on. And thanks, everybody, for joining us. Keith, Josh, check him out at Cruising with Kayfabe. He's been dialing it in there. Him and his wife, Em, doing a great job with that. Find them where you find your podcasts. Like and subscribe their Facebook page. Jamal, you guys have a blast down there, and give a big yo to that wild-ass Canadian you have with you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We will be back as probably going to be a couple weeks, as I have to go down to the States and do some work stuff in the South. But we'll be back with some more cheap seat booking and talking about some stuff with some other fans. It's fun. And have a good Easter, or 420, or WrestleMania. With all of them, do it.